I could tell you a story about a kid that grew up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, that wanted to be an NFL football player, that had that dream, that had a goal. Didn't really know the vision, didn't know the why, didn't know the purpose, but I knew what I wanted to do. I remember being 8 years old, and I would stay outside all the time, like till it got dark out. Parents got me a watch. They bought me a watch, and they're like, Alec, at 6 o'clock, you need to get home. We got dinner on the table. Like, we need you to get home. 6 o'clock, on this watch, when the short one's all the way at the bottom, you got to be at home. I'm like, all right, I got it. I'm down the street, playing with my friends, just loving life. Check my watch. It's about 5:30, but we're down 2 scores. I'm playing quarterback. I'm playing wide receiver. I'm playing linebacker. I'm doing all the things, right? Score a touchdown with my best friend. We go celebrate in the end zone. We're still down 1 score. I check it. It's 6 o'clock. This is the decision. Do I book it all the way back up the hill, back to my house? Or am I going to finish this game? All right, let's finish this thing. We get a pick 6. We go for 2. We score. Yes, we're up. I check that watch at 6:15. I'm like, guys, I got to go. And I'm running. And if you know anything about fall in Wisconsin, it's a little cold up in Green Bay, right? So I'm running up this hill as fast as I possibly can. And when it's a little cold out, you're running, them lungs hurt. The legs start turning to jello real quick. I run up this hill as fast as I can. I'm breathing. I'm sweating. These legs are going. I get up to the top of the hill, and I see my dad sitting on that front porch. Oh, boy. Here we go. Here we go. I know it's 6:15. I know I'm late again. And he hits me right on the porch. I get there. He goes, you want to go play catch? I said, play catch? Is this a trick? Like, what's going on here? He's like, no, let's just play out in the front yard. Let's throw the ball around. I'm like, heck yeah, I want to throw the ball around. That's what I was just doing. This is what I love to do. So we're throwing the ball around. We're catching it, throwing it. And eventually I start hearing some sounds in the front yard. Like, I couldn't really tell what it was. It was kind of off in the distance. I'm like, Dad, what's the sound coming? You know, if I'm really quiet, I can kind of hear something going on in the background. He said, all right, son, come here. Puts me on his shoulders. If we got really quiet and he went on his tiptoes, we could see stadium lights. I grew up about 2 miles from our local high school. And as a kid, 8 years old, that loved football, I could feel the energy of football. I could feel the energy of people coming together and cheering. I could hear the pads cracking. I could hear the touchdowns and the celebration and the PA announcer. It was infectious, that energy. I loved it. I loved the thought of bringing a bunch of people together to celebrate something you worked so hard for, something you sacrificed for, to have that moment of being a little kid on a football field. And in that moment, I want to play this game as long as I could. That's what I wanted to do. That was the dream. That was the goal. You work your whole life doing everything you possibly can to be the best football player you can be, the best man you can be, the best leader you can be. My senior year at the high school, I'm playing quarterback, got a D1 offer to go to Northern Illinois, get a group of guys together. We're about to go do something special. I roll my ankle in the state semifinal game, and we fall short. Can't finish the game. The season's over. Dream's over. You don't get that state championship, but still awarded that state player of the year for Gatorade. You get a lot of individual acknowledgments. You're excited. Get a late scholarship offer to the University of Wisconsin. I get to continue this journey. I get to continue and go on to the University of Wisconsin, do whatever it takes to try and make that field, to continue this path, to be a part of those teams, to sacrifice for one another, right? It brought meaning. It brought a sense of like commitment, something bigger than just myself. You're a part of a community that you can invest in and trust. At the University of Wisconsin, I got that offer as an athlete. Coach Chris called me up. He said, I love what you did at quarterback. You're also 6 feet tall. You're not going to see over those 6'7" linemen. We're going to need you to do something else. I said, that's cool, coach. Like, whatever it takes to be on the field. I just want to be a part of this thing. So we start over at linebacker. I'm doing my thing, playing scout team. All of a sudden, all the running backs get hurt. It's like, Alec, last year you ran for like 2,400 yards in high school. You think you could do that for us at the University of Wisconsin? Like, heck yeah, coach, put me on offense. Let's go. So I switch over to offense. I end up leading the team in rushing touchdowns that true freshman year. Burn the red shirt. score 9 touchdowns, short yardage, dirty work, doing everything we can. Problem was we had like 3 NFL running backs, future NFL running backs, come back healthy that next year. No more spots for me, man. Hey, Alec, I think if you put on a little bit of weight, maybe you could go play fullback. I said, Coach, I trust you. I'll do whatever it takes. Now I'm splitting time as a sophomore. All of a sudden my junior year comes up, turn 21, get a little excited. You're at the University of Wisconsin. I got lost in the sauce a little bit. Kind of lost that purpose. I lost that why. I lost that kid that was on his dad's shoulders peeking over that tree line. I forgot that purpose. I was scared. It's the first time in my life, an adverse situation, it was kind of self-imposed, but I wasn't as committed as I used to be. I wasn't doing everything the right way. I had to sit down. It's the first time I got benched. Watching other people go chase their dreams, do what they love to do. Sitting there on their bench, I'm pissed. I'm blaming everybody, pointing at the coaches, pointing at teammates, pointing at teachers. And my answer was just to throw all these eggs in the football basket. So I'm going to wake up. I'm going to go watch film. I'm going to go to practice. I'm going to do everything I possibly can. I'm skipping class. I'm doing everything right. The coach still, I'm not listening to him, pointing fingers there. I don't want to look in a mirror. And I realized why I was so afraid of a mirror. And then I started to realize my goals and my dreams, I need to overcome some of the bigger fears of my life. Not just chase it, not just do more, but also sacrifice that fear. Sacrifice what's holding me back. Sacrifice and let go of that baggage that's holding me from being the best version of myself. And why I'm afraid of mirrors? Why I was doing self-sabotage? It's because I felt alone. Talked about it a little bit. I am adopted. There is a man out there that could be in this room right now, looks exactly like me, that could be my birth father. I wouldn't know. Never met him before. I was too big of a liability. I wasn't good enough. Those were the thoughts in the back of my head. Now, I know that's not true. I have a loving family. I have 2 parents that love me to death. I got a little sister that's their biological daughter, and we're a family, right? We talk to each other all the time. But when I was out on my own in college, I started to feel isolated. I forgot that sense of purpose. I forgot that why. I wasn't locked in because I was afraid of not being good enough. And as we approached this whole NFL dream and getting into that draft scenario and making all those dreams come true, my pride wasn't ready for it. My ego was saying, what if I just self-sabotage here a little bit? What if I don't do all the right things? Well, then I have a couple built-in excuses, right? So if I don't go all in, if I don't dive in, if I don't do everything I possibly can to make it to the NFL, when it doesn't happen, it's not going to hurt as much. When it doesn't happen, I can point to, my diet, or coach, or playing time. That would feel better than going all in, doing the work, sacrificing every single thing you got. And then if you still fall short after all that, that hurts. That's ego. That's pride protecting yourself. I had an FCA director at college reach out to me, sat me down. As I'm going through this, I'm battling these thoughts of my dreams and my nightmares, my goals, my opportunities with all this failure. He sat me down. He said, Alec, if coach puts you in to start the very next week, will you be ready for it? Like, honestly, honest reflection. I'm like, yeah, I think so. He held up a mirror. He's like, tell yourself that. I said, yeah, I think I'd be ready. And as I looked myself in the eyes, I knew I wasn't ready. I knew I wasn't fully being the best version of myself. I was afraid of that mirror. I was afraid of the man I was looking back at. Because my entire life, I grew up 22 years at that point with no visual representation of what I was supposed to be 30 years from now. I didn't have that visual representation of, man, this is what you're going to go do. This is what you're good at. This is how you lead. This is how you listen. I didn't have that visual representation to look at as a father. I always thought that was a curse, man. But now I see it as the biggest blessing. Because this next step I take, that's blazing your trail. The family that you're seeing around here, I can reach out to somebody that doesn't look like me, doesn't talk like me, but we can become family. Because if you see my dad, he's about this tall, short little white guy from Green Bay, Wisconsin, a college wrestler. Look nothing like him. But we're tight like no other. So I had this FCA director. He does this mirror situation, which scared the shit out of me. I'm sitting there, and I start to understand, okay, this is the value of honest reflection. Look myself in the mirror. Be willing to sacrifice all of that fear and look at yourself in the eyes and commit to something you're willing to do for you, for your family, for your communities, for your teams, and get after it. And after that call, or after that meeting, he said, I love you. Damn. I never had that before. We only had a few meetings, and he wasn't saying it in any malice way. He was just saying it like, man, I care about you. I don't care what happens in your future. I don't care if you make a big contract or be a Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee or go speak to a bunch of people, make this impact, be in the NFL. I don't care, man. I love you for you. I'm here for you. Win, lose, or draw. And in that moment, it brought me back to that why. Brought me back to the people I love. Brought me back to that community. Drew a sense of purpose. I'm so glad we had that conversation, because about 3 weeks later, we're playing Indiana. Starter goes down. I score 3 touchdowns in one game as a fullback. Crazy. Very next week, he's still on the shelf. We go out to Illinois. I score another 2. Score 5 touchdowns in 2 weeks. Now, the starter comes back. We end up going 13-1 and win the Orange Bowl. But if I didn't have that conversation and somebody vulnerable enough to reach me where I was at, to understand why I was hurting, and to be able to teach me and love me and care for me with no ulterior motives, with no other intentions, probably wouldn't be here right now. That little sense of motivation, that little piece of success, that little sense of purpose helped me draw back into the sustained motivation to go out and commit and say, I'm going all in. I'm going to do this thing. I got a goal on the top of the piece of paper. 12 months from now, it's to get drafted. And I know whether I get that or not, whether I succeed or I fail, there's going to be people that love me. And I'm going to be the best version of myself, regardless of that outcome, regardless of that situation. Yeah, I might fall a little bit short, but man, I'm going to be a better human being because I tried. So I went after it, man. I'm not on any draft boards. I'm going through this grind in college. We get to the point where all of a sudden it's week 1, week 2, week 3. We're playing these non-conference games, starting to ball out a little bit. NFL scouts start showing up. In my head, I'm just saying, be the best you. Be the best you for your teammates, for your community, for your family, for yourself. Be the best you, over and over and over again. That was my phrase. I locked in on it. Coaching scout, you'd be watching me do some bag drills over here, taking his notes. Didn't bother me. I wasn't doing it for him. I wasn't doing it for that external validation. I was doing it to be the best version of myself. Bought in. That helped me sustain the motivation. So when it came time to go to Iowa, our backs are on the ropes a little bit. We got a little big pig trophy that we're playing for. Coach can call an end around to a fullback, and I can take it 39 yards to the house in 𝐄𝐃𝐔𝐂𝐃𝐔 Stadium and wave goodbye to all the fans. Safe travels home. We'll take the pig with us. Now all of a sudden everyone's really interested. How are these drills going? How is he in the classroom? How is he as a leader? I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about being the best version of myself. I'm locked in on that purpose, that sustained motivation, that community that you're a part of. Plays after plays after plays stack up, wins after wins after wins. We get to the point where all of a sudden I'm the only one invited, only fullback invited to the Senior Bowl, only fullback invited to the Combine, and all these dreams are about to happen. So excited. Sign an agent. I go Mercedes-Benz shopping with my dad the day before the draft because I'm about to be a 5th-round pick. I'm going to have a big signing bonus. I'm going to invite my athletic director from high school, my high school football coach. Half the dang town was in my house on draft day waiting for that ESPN moment. We had a camera in the back just like that with a big red light on me for 4 hours. We're on day 3 now. I already watched some guys do it, but I'm gonna get drafted. This is going to be my moment. I'm going to get that external validation that I've been waiting for all this time. We sat down, excited. Round 4 goes, no calls. Round 5 goes, no calls. We're about 2 hours in, middle of round 6. I get a call from Orchard Park, New York. Mute the TV, pick it up. Hello? What's up, man? This is Brian Daboll, offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, man. I just want to let you know We loved you at the combine. You crushed your interviews. I'm standing on the table trying to get you. We got 2 picks in the 7th round. So if you get this number, just stay locked in. We'll call you. We got a couple picks. We might move back. You're on our board, man. We really appreciate you. I'm like, all right, coach. All right. I'll see you. I hang up the phone. I turn the TV back on. I'm like, guys, that wasn't the draft call, but the Bills are really excited. They might be picking me. But I got this little gut sense of like, ugh, why is he calling me to tell how interested they are in later in the 7th round? Does that mean I'm going to get picked in the 7th round? Does that mean they're trying to recruit me into free agency? I don't know. Phone went silent for 2 more hours. Didn't get picked. I watched the last pick for the Arizona Cardinals go off. Caleb Wilson's the tight end out of UCLA. Don't get drafted. Now, thankfully, Coach Gruden, Rich Bisaccia called me up for the Raiders, and they offered me a tryout spot. Like, cool, coach, I appreciate that. We go through some negotiations, sign on the dotted line. I'm an undrafted free agent, but I got this opportunity out in Oakland. I go out into a room just like this with half my town there. I say, guys, didn't get picked, but I got this opportunity to go to Oakland, Alameda, California. I'm going to be a Raider. I was like, yeah, let's go. They're cheering, all this stuff. Like, we're excited. Good for you. And the people that cared about me, the man that was on his shoulders when I was 8 years old, we both knew what that meant. Man, I'm going to get a cup of coffee in the NFL, and they're going to cut me. They just need me for the reps. They got a starter in mind. They're going to rock with him. I'm just kind of going to be there. I'm depressed, man. 32 head coaches and general managers. In that moment where all my dreams can come true for that external validation I've been chasing my entire life since a man walked out on my family, on me as an adopted son, he walked out, man. I've been chasing that external validation ever since. And when I went all in, when I did everything the right way, when I committed to myself, I still fell short. I didn't get that external validation. I didn't get that moment. That hurts. That ego, that pride, rocked. Next morning I wake up, my dad sits me on the porch. He said, son, you fell short, but that's all right, man. It's time for you to be a man. It's time for you to go cross the country and take a grown man's job. It's what it is. And in that moment, he wasn't nurturing. He wasn't leading in all these other ways. He was leading because it was heart to heart. It was vulnerable. He told me what I needed to hear, not what I wanted to hear. And I was willing to listen to a man that I care about because of that authenticity, because of that vulnerability. So, all right, let's go. I'm back in on this purpose. I'm back on this grind. I'm going to take that look in the mirror and I'm going to say, whatever just happened wasn't good enough. And that's okay. Let me reflect. Let me readjust. Let me recalibrate. Let me pick myself up, dust myself off, and let's get back at it, man. So I didn't get that whole ESPN moment, but I showed up ready to work, man. I showed up ready to work. Every single workout, every single practice, there's field 1 and field 2. Field 1 was all the starters. Field 2 is all the backups. I was on field 2 as field 2 can get. Now we'd have this guy named Marcel Aitman, I think some people might know from Oklahoma State. He would do a crazy one-handed catch over the shoulder. Coach would be like, Marcel, come on over here to field 1. Let's go see that again. He'd have a blocking assignment where he has to crack replace the safety. Where's Marcel? He's blocking the corner. Back over to field 2. Right, that accountability, knowing what to do, how to do it, doing it with relentless effort. I was doing that over on field 2, but I didn't have that talent to catch the eye to get me over to field 1. Instead of feeling like poor me, I say, you know what? I'm committed to this. I'm going to be ready for my opportunity. Whenever I get over there, I'm going to be ready for it. I'm living in a Hampton Inn and Suites for 4 months during OTAs. We travel up to Napa Valley, California for training camp. First day of training camp, rookies are there before the vets. I get a call from Coach Gruden. Hey, man, hope you're doing well. Our starting fullback just tore his meniscus. He's going to be out for 3 weeks. We're going to need you on field 1 tomorrow. I said, Coach, no worries. I got you. Hang up that phone. That was literally the call to greatness right there. That was literally the opportunity I was waiting for my entire life. Now, if you get that phone call and you aren't locked in, you don't have that purpose, you don't have that community, you don't have that why, all locked in, man, I might get in that playbook a little bit more. Man, I was skipping out on that film. Oh, I might start talking to the running backs and the quarterbacks and trying to figure something out. No, I didn't have to do that. I just had to be the best me. Be the best you. Everything I've been talking to myself since college, how I've been training myself, was for this moment. So I get to walk in there and have to ISO block Vontaze Burfict, who's 275 pounds of mean and nasty, and he's out of the league because he hit people too hard. And I said, I'm going to block that man, because if I can block him, everyone in this building knows that I belong here. Didn't shy away from it. I wanted to compete. I was ready for it. Now the rookies, we're all picking the helmets up, the shoulder pads, you know what I'm saying? All the stuff. We don't get to get in the ice tubs after practice. We got to lift before practice, not after. You're taking care of these vets. So I go up and I hit Vontaze as hard as I can. It's like, oh, this is one of them rookies, huh? This is one of them rookies that's going to try hard and prove himself. That's cool, man. We'll see how you're feeling in a week. The rookie hazing continues. All of a sudden, I got to play in the preseason games and the starters are resting. But I'm also on field one with all the starters while this backup, or the starter, fullback, he's still on the shelf. I'm the only one there. GM comes up to me like, Alec, are you okay? Do we need to bring in another fullback? Like, you're taking all of these reps in practice, in the games. You aren't getting in the ice tubs. You aren't working. Like, are you good? I said, do not ask anybody else to come. I got it. I got it. We don't need anybody else coming here. I got this one. Week 2 of the preseason. Hit Vontaze again. Block him through the whistle. He wasn't talking as much trash as he was week 1. Like, maybe this kid can play. By week 3, we're about to play the Green Bay Packers in Canada on an 80-yard field in front of Hard Knocks for our 3rd preseason game. I go up to my coach. I'm like, listen, man, my parents are from Green Bay. This is the closest opportunity they can see their son wearing an NFL football jersey. I need to know if I'm going to be playing because I need to tell them to get their passports ready so they can take this flight up to Canada so they can watch their son at least one time in the NFL. He said, I'll tell you this, Alec. Tell your parents to cancel that flight up to Canada and rebook it for week 1 Monday Night Football against the Broncos because you're going to be our starting fullback. I got chills right now just saying that. I ran out of that room, walking home to my Hampton Inn and Suites at this time, ready to go, call my parents up and say, your son did it. Your son did it. Now, it wasn't the ESPN opportunity. It wasn't that picture-perfect video captured moment. It was gritty. It was tough. It was nasty. But I was willing to sacrifice all of that. I was willing to sacrifice that fear of failure. I was willing to chase that dream relentlessly and take it one step at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time to be able to make that phone call and say your son did it. Now, you're probably wondering why I got some books here and what the heck that's all about. My Raiders career started pretty good. I go as an undrafted free agent to the first ever rookie starters in the backfield, Josh Jacobs and I, first ever in NFL history to start week 1 together as rookies, fullback and running back in the backfield. Never happened before. I get named a Pro Bowl alternate, doing some cool things. All of a sudden I get into the foster care and adoption advocacy. The very next year I get named a Walter Payton Man of the Year nomination in only my 2nd year in the league. They say it's the greatest honor in all of football. 3rd year, I'm going into my contract year. I'm an undrafted free agent, right? You only get a 3-year deal. I'm named a team captain. You look at Pro Football Focus, your boy was number 1, man. I was the best in the world at what I was doing. Week 9 against the Kansas City Chiefs, Sunday Night Football. I'm hyping up the guys. I'm like the captain, right? I'm the dude in the middle of the huddle hyping up this grown men leading us out to battle. And the Kansas City Chiefs have had our number for a long time, dude. Like ever since I was in the league, before I was in the league, they still got it. They still have it. This was our moment on national primetime television to make a statement that we belong, to prove that we deserve to be here. And I got them boys hyped up. We're in the 2nd quarter. We got a punt play. A.J. Cole, one of the guys who was undrafted guy with me, now a Pro Bowl all-pro guy, he bombs one, right? He's punting it, flips the field 75 yards in the air. These punt plays, man, we all start in this like small contained box. You have 22 guys on a field within 5 yards of each other. And then you go out, you got to chase this ball 75 yards down the field, running up to 20 miles an hour, and it's going to be collisions in a matter of seconds. Once we got into that second area of that collision part, I try and plant to make a play, rip my ACL. I'm in a contract year. Our coach just had a massive allegation. He's out of the building. We have an interim head coach. Our GM's about to get fired. I have no job security. In a matter of seconds, I was on the mountaintop of my career. Team captain, Walter Payton Man of the Year, Pro Bowl alternate, all these things. And just like that in one play, I was on the streets without a job, without an ACL. So I'm sitting, I'm thinking about how I'm going to come back, what I'm going to do. Derek Carr comes up to me, he said, man, I know your mind is running. I know this is a season-ending injury, could be career-ending. But the one thing you can control in this moment is how you respond. Take tonight, whatever you need, it's cool. But tomorrow you have to show up with a purpose, with a drive, with a why, and a goal for how you're going to respond when you come back 9 months later. He said, all right, DC, I'm in. I showed up and I decided I wanted to be a better fullback after this injury than before. And as I'm going through it, I'm journaling, I'm doing all these healthy coping mechanisms, I'm reading books. I said, you know what, why don't I help other athletes that are going through the same thing? That might have uncertainty, that might have doubt, that might have fears, that might have goals, that might have dreams. And what if I can share in this raw emotion where I have no uncertainty? I don't know what tomorrow looks like. I don't know what next week looks like. But I know I'm going to make it happen. And I know the answers because I've been through the tests. From middle school to high school to college, all the way to the NFL. I've lived it. I know it. I believe it. Let me write about that so that the next athlete, the next coach, the next professional can say, I don't know what's around the corner, but I know in my heart, internally, I can get there. So I'm writing this book. I'm going chapter by chapter. I'm reflecting on the past. I'm predicting the future. I'm talking about the emotions of being on an ACL table, just trying to straighten my leg out as I'm watching everybody else go chase their dreams. I'm about 3/4 of the way done with this book. I'm talking about having football camps out in Las Vegas. I'm doing all these things. I get a call from my agent that the new GM wants to see me. It's about 2 years ago to this day. Say, Alec, we appreciate your service for these last 3 years, but we don't need you anymore. We got a different vision, got different needs. We'll see you later. That was tough, man. 2 years ago, I can't even walk. You get let go of your job. You're on the street now. You have no idea where you're going next. But I knew I was going to be a better football player, a better man after this injury than before. Hindsight's a beautiful thing. Get another Walter Payton Man of the Year nod, second highest paid fullback in the NFL. Got my first Pro Bowl nod this last year with the Miami Dolphins and Mike McDaniel, and we got some exciting things cooking, right? I've been able to prove that this right here, while I was writing it, I executed. I'm a better fullback, I'm a better man, I'm a better human being after this injury than before. That's how I got to the NFL. That's where I'm at now. And that's why we're here. Because that moment where I was on the shoulders of my dad, falling in love with the game of football, I understand my purpose in life is beyond that. It's to inspire others to believe in the best version of themselves. Because that's what football is, man. It's a group of people coming together and creating something bigger than just what they could do themselves. It's bringing people together and wearing and separating all the differences you have in the world, all throwing on orange and aqua, the ugliest colors you could probably think of, and cheering on for your favorite team when it's 95 degrees and 95% humidity out. It brings people together. It inspires other people to believe in the best version of themselves. That's the book. That's the speech. That's what I do on Sundays. That's what I do when I go home. That's how I live my life. So one thing I'll leave you with is you got a goal, you got a dream, man, write it down, chase it. Understand it comes with some nightmares. Dreams come with nightmares. Writing down that fear, being able to look it in the face, be able to look it in the mirror, all of a sudden it's something to attack. It's not something in the back of your head that you're thinking about or you're worried about. Having that family, that support system, don't matter what they look like, but trust and have that vulnerable conversation with the people you love and care about. Call somebody today and tell them you love them. Somebody you haven't reached out to recently. And finally, when you got all that kind of figured out, Define your purpose. How are you going to bring all of those dreams, those goals, what you're doing, how you're doing it, why you're doing it? How are you going to impact the kids you serve, the coaches that you serve, the community that you serve? I can articulate that one sentence, inspiring other people to believe in the best version of themselves. That's how I live. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it. It's all encompassing. That's all I got for you guys today. I'm excited to answer any questions you guys got, but I appreciate your time. Please, thank you.